So how you feeling? Is anybody feeling better than when they came in? Anybody feeling better than when they came in? There is something remarkable I hear from people all the time. I wasn't thinking about going to church today, Pastor, but for some reason, a thing came back into my mind that I was going to go, and I'm so glad I did. Now, there may be people that would come up to me after the service and say, I'm so sorry I did. Fortunately, they don't seem to come to me. I just don't hear that. Again and again and again, I hear from people, I'm so glad I came to church today. I didn't feel like it. I wasn't sure. I was busy. It's a busy week. I didn't feel like it, but I came, and I felt better. And you know why you felt better? It's not just that you were a former Catholic and you're afraid of going to hell for missing church, although that's a very nice angle that they have. I think Lutherans should have thought of that one. It's not just that the little voice of your mom whispering in your ear is turned off. You don't feel guilty. It's that you were made to worship. You were made to worship. In Isaiah 43, the Lord says, the people whom I formed for myself, that they might declare my praise. The Westminster Catechism says it this way, what is the chief end of people? People's chief end is to glorify God. We were made to worship. And if you feel good, that's good because that's why you were made. When you do something that you're capable of, that you're prepared for, that you're talented at, you tend to feel really good when you do that. And so it's not surprising when you come to worship and you worship that you feel good, better. We're going to be looking at this series, Made to Worship, for the next 2 months. And the big idea, not so that you can skip the rest of them, but just the big idea to keep in mind is that worship is not a thing you go to. It's not a concert. It's not a movie. It's not a lecture. It's not a seminar. It's got aspects of all those things, but it really is so much more than that. Worship is not something you go to. It's something you do. And again, I think it is possible for us to go to church and not worship. How is that possible? If we treat church as an audience member, if we treat church as a concert goer, if we treat church as a classroom, if we treat church as something to consume, something available, something optional, then it is possible to make your whole way through this experience and say things like this: the sermon didn't feed me today. I didn't like the songs. The announcements were too long. I didn't like the video. See, as a consumer, you have every right to pick apart the thing you're paying for, the concert, the movie, the seminar. But if you find yourself thinking that way, it's a good clue to say, wait a minute. Did I go to a worship service and forget to worship? Because see, this is not a passive situation, though I'm here and you're there. This is an active one. In fact, the people least likely to worship in any given service is Larry, Mo, and Curly here, the pastors. I'll let you pick which one you want. Because we're working. Sometimes we worship amazingly, sometimes we don't. But you're not working to put the service together. But you are working, because worship is something that you do, not something you go to. And when we start to think that way, I think it helps a lot, not only to understand what's going on here, but to put the opportunity and the burden on us. Am I worshiping? Am I letting go of the consumer mentalities, the thoughts that I would take to another place, a venue, a concert hall? Am I letting go of those and saying, how can I worship in this moment? What does this lesson have for me? What did I get out of that? How can I lift my praise to God in spite of the fact that I don't like or know the song? The big idea we'll be working on, so I won't say much more about that right now, but the big idea is we don't go to worship. We worship. We worship. That's the goal for a follower of Christ, is to come to worship. As we sang in our song, we come to worship. We come to worship. Now, one of the things about worship that is fairly significant, especially at a praise service like ours, is the component of the worship time that is used for singing, for music. Music is an essential part of a worship experience. Can you worship without music? Yes. You can. It'd be like this. It's a birthday. Everybody's excited. They all come with presents. And they give presents. And then cake gets brought out. Ooh, a cake. And the candles get lit. Ooh, the candles are lit. And then they blow out the candles and they open the presents and they all go home. And on the way home, you'd be thinking this one thing. I'm missing something. What did I miss? What? It was great. It was wonderful. What did I miss? Happy birthday to you, everybody. Happy birthday, everybody, to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Can you imagine not singing happy birthday? You could have a whole crowd of tone-deaf, genetically people, right? Totally tone-deaf. Are you going to skip the birthday song? It isn't a birthday without the birthday song. It isn't worship, really, without music. It's always been a part of Jewish worship, our forebears, and Christian worship has always been a part of it. And so worship is not only singing, and some churches get that wrong. They'll say, well, we're going to have a worship time now, and that's the singing time. And then later on, we're going to have a message time, as if the two things are separated. You know, I don't go for that. Worship is the whole thing we do together. And by the way, it's everything you do the rest of your life when you leave this place. This is the public time. You've got your private worship, singing in the car on the way home, praying at the end of the day. That's your private worship. Your public worship, it's more than just singing. But singing's important. Singing's powerful. Singing takes us to places, special places, and you cannot sing happy birthday without feeling something happen as you sing it. One of the first songs in the Bible is the song that Miriam sings after passing through the Red Sea. She's gone through the Red Sea. They've been delivered from slavery in Egypt. They've walked through this Red Sea. God has parted it for them. It's a miracle. They get to the other side. All the people coming after them, the soldiers in their chariots, are coming across, and they're like, we're just going to get taken back into slavery again. And then God closes the water over them, and she just can't help it. I will sing unto the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and rider thrown into the sea. She's got her tambourine too. Why don't we do tambourine anymore, Julie? Come on. I will sing unto the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and rider thrown into the sea. I don't know if that was the tune. We don't have any record of tunes. The Lord, my God, my strength, my song, has now become... Now, contrast that to, the Lord, my God, my strength, my song, has now become my victory. The Lord, my God, my strength, but just putting it to music lifts it up. It lifts it up. I tend to think if this wasn't the first song in the Bible, there was another song, and that's the one where it said, let there be light. Can you just imagine God standing, I don't know where he stood, floating something, and he just, let there be light. You just let there be birds and animals and things, like a beautiful song that we get to sing the rest of our lives with our own life song. So the Bible's filled with songs. The gospel stories of Jesus' birth are chock full of them. You can look almost anywhere, and if you see something indented in your Bible, indented in the smaller paragraphs, I can almost guarantee you that's a song. Look for them. They're the songs that people had. I wish we had the tunes, but we have the words, and people sang. Psalm 36 is a great example of that. It says, "Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, praise his name, proclaim his salvation day after day." It says, sing to the Lord. It doesn't say, if you'd like to, hum a little ditty. It says, sing to the Lord. Now, you could argue that that's not a command. It's not one of the 10 commandments, although worship is one of the 10 commandments. But to sing to the Lord, I think it goes a little bit beyond optional. I think it's sort of expected of us to sing to the Lord. Kind of expected us. And I think it's something, as we saw with Miriam, that naturally pops out of us when we're happy, when we're excited, when we feel the moment deserves more than just applause. It deserves a song. It deserves an opportunity to create more than words. We're told that we should let the word of Christ dwell in us richly in Colossians. Teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs with thankfulness in your hearts to God. In Ephesians, we're told, address one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody to the Lord with your heart. It's not really an option. So, all you singers can just take a break right now. I know who you are. All you non-singers, this is for you. What's up? Are we worried that someone might laugh at our voice? Let them. Are we worried we don't have a very good one? God doesn't seem to be worried. He gave it to you. We don't know all the words. Take a note from the page of Dave Hagen's songbook. If you don't know the words, watermelon seems to work in every lyric. I don't know why. I don't know why. You don't know the tune. Do what you can. You know, I was just thinking about this. I understand. I cannot hit a fastball. I can get hit by a fastball. And I think you can do that sometimes if you can stand the pain, right? Yeah, it's strategic. I cannot hit a fastball. So I understand that for some people say, well, I hit a fastball and you sing. But see, there is nothing that I'm quite aware of where a fastball is part of a worship service. Maybe we should introduce that. Singing is. And so we have to get over that hump, that nervousness, that fear. We need to sing. Now, if you feel you're willing to take a little leap with me and start to move this is radical, lips, and not even let anything quite come out, but just move your lips along to the words on the screen. Just move the lips. Or maybe if you get a little more bold, you might, this is amazing, say the words along with the people singing around you. It's okay if you don't have the voice for it. But God wants to hear you. And I can tell you that by singing, you stop becoming an audience and you start becoming part of the program. Please think about it. Pray about it. When it's time for singing, move those lips, say those words, and Lou Reed had a whole career where he couldn't sing, and he did fine. Let's lift our praises to the Lord, all of us, and we're watching up here. Watching. We hear in Psalm 96, great is the Lord and most worthy of praise. Most worthy of praise. Why do we sing? Well, if we're not convinced by being told to sing, I think we would be convinced by saying, yeah, he deserves it. Count our blessings all week long and say, what does God want of our blessings? Do you know that God does not want money for your blessings? Can we just put that aside? He does not give you blessings so that you give him money. Your financial offering has nothing to do with what God needs, because God's rich. But here's what God seems to need, or at least delight in: our voices. Now, I'm not saying you can come every week and not bring money. If you do that, we won't be around very long. And that is another aspect of our faith life, to give money. But our voices are actually a way we can repay our debt of gratitude. When we praise Him, it's not like we're making things even, because He'll always be way ahead of us, but it's like we're giving something back in a way that we really can do it. You say, how can I thank God? Sing. No, really, how can I thank God? Sing. How can I really sing? Move your lips. Let the air come out, for He is worthy. Psalm continues, ascribe to the Lord, all you families of nations. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due His name. Bring an offering and come into His courts. Worship the Lord in splendor of His holiness. Tremble before Him, all the earth. Singing has the power to unite us. Want me to prove it to you? Can I prove it to you? A one and a two. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Let me hear you. Peanuts and Cracker Jack. Louder. I don't care if I ever go back, and we'll root for your team. If they don't win, it's a shame. Let me hear you, for it's 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Now, that was at least twice as long as our third praise song today. Now, I know it's because you know it well, and I also know that I heard a lot of bass. Bob Lindmark was really punching it in. The bass was really coming in there. It's an easy song to sing. It's a fun song to sing. And for just a minute, we were all doing the same thing. When I'm talking, you're all thinking different things. When other things are going on, everybody's... But for one short time, we were all back at the ball game. And I just have this feeling I need some peanuts very soon. There's something powerful about that. A whole civil rights movement grew around a simple song. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. After 9/11, both parties gathered on the steps of Congress, held hands, and sang. Some of us are old enough to remember that. For just 1 minute we were together. We were united. And everybody always makes fun. They always say, well, we're not going to all get together, hold hands, and sing Kumbaya. But personally, I think that's a great idea. Jill knows I love that song. Why don't we all get together and sing? Huh? Why don't we? Oh, we do. Where do we get together and sing? Right here. We all get together and sing. You may not realize that, but for that moment, the air you breathe is affecting the eardrums of someone else. You might say, oh goodness, I was just about getting ready to sing and now I'm worried. We're actually touching each other as we sing. Coming together. And at points when we're all singing, you don't hear one voice anymore. You just hear a voice. A beautiful, amazing voice. An incredible voice. A voice no one could have, but we all can have together. Singing unites us. He's got the whole world in His hands. 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 Now I could say, He's got the whole world in His hands. He's got the whole world in His hands. But when you put it to music, it seems like it could be true, don't you think? That it could really be true that he has all of us in his hands. Singing brings us together. It's why our worship begins this way. And it's something to bring. I know how busy it can be on Sunday morning. I know we've got a lot of things to do before we get here. But just a reminder that we have wonderful music that starts right on time. Amazingly, Julie insists on it. The rest of the praise band says, let's wait till 2 or more are gathered. I just sometimes think, what would it be like if the whole place was full when we started? Wouldn't it be awesome? Well, I'll tell you why it would be awesome. Because our guests are here on time. They've looked at the website. They know what time it is. And they come even a few minutes early so that they don't look weird trying to find their way. And if I'm speaking into guests here, thank you for coming. I've been a guest many times. I come a little bit early. I hide until I figure out if it's safe. And some of you, when you come early to an Advent service, you might think, something's wrong here. I thought this church was supposed to be doing pretty well. Now, eventually you say, oh, okay. Now I get it. I'm going to come late next time. No, please don't. We can all pull this together. We can all start on time. What an incredible voice of praise that would be. Just think on it. Just think on it. Just think on it. Singing is good for us. Again, we were made to worship, so it wouldn't be surprising that God made us so that we would want to sing and feel good doing it. Let the heavens rejoice. Let the earth be glad. Let the sea resound and all that is in it. Gosh, even inanimate objects are singing in the Psalms. Let all creation rejoice before the Lord. James says, is anyone cheerful? Let them sing praise. But I would reverse that too and say, if you're not feeling cheerful, sing praise and you soon will. You soon will feel good. I'll prove it to you. Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Ba, ba, ba. Good times never seem so good. I mean, doesn't that just feel so good? There's something that gets released in us. Something that gets released in us when that kind of song comes along. And I don't think there's a wedding today without it, because it's just so good. Granny gets up there and she doesn't know what you go, so good, it's awesome. It just makes us feel good. There's an organization that deals with people that have mental health issues, and they have found an incredible therapy. It's called choir. It was funny to read this because I'm like, choirs exist already, right? But this is for people with anxiety, depression, bipolar issues. They get together. It's not about how good they sing. It's about singing. And they have found that gathering together to sing has a therapeutic benefit for them that is far more than anyone would have expected. Anybody who's been in a choir, anybody who's sung together, I think we know why. David was brought to Saul in the midst of his terrible attacks of doubt and anxiety and played his harp to soothe him. And when you're as sad as you can get, as low as you can go, as hurt as you can be, tell me this doesn't help. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Singing is good for us. And indeed, singing heals us. It makes us come into God's presence And he gets to minister to us and bless us. But he also gets to use us because singing ultimately is a witness to the world. Singing is a witness to the world. When people sing, other people notice. Again, I'll go back to, if by chance someone came in today and they didn't know what they were up against when they showed up for church, maybe they've lost a loved one, their relationship's on the rocks, and they missed the marriage retreat, and maybe their job has just changed. They come in this morning, and they are in no way, shape, or form ready to sing. God bless them. You know what they need? You to sing. You to sing. In your squeaky, creaky, admittedly off-pitch voice. But they need to hear you, because when they hear you, guess what? They just might believe that the God you're praising is real, that the God you're praising can heal, that the God you're praising right this moment can touch their lives and change their lives and give them the peace they cannot find anywhere else. But you got to sing, because if you're not singing, then they're thinking, what is this? Does anybody believe? Can I get a witness? Does anybody believe? Of course we do. Don't let some of us, the Lutheran shyness thing, don't let that hold us back. Sing your praises to the Lord. Sing your praises to the Lord. Oh, all you people. Do y'all know Mark Cohn, Walking in Memphis? You know that song? Great song he's singing about Elvis. They're walking around Memphis. At one point he's in a worship service, and he's Jewish, but it's a Christian worship service. It's a gospel service. It's going on and on. And then the singer says to him, are you a Christian, son? And he goes, man, I am tonight. Let's sweep everybody up in praise when they come. In honest, authentic, not fake, true, real. And in fact, it's better if you sing, because you're sitting next to them and you probably know how they feel. We have a choice. To worship by going to it, or to worship by doing it. And singing, well, singing's one of the first steps to doing it.